Bonjour Français 4. Aujourd'hui, on parle des mots négatifs. Vous dites, mais madame, je sais comment créer des phrases négatives. Ne et pas. I'm here to tell you that there are so many more negative words that we haven't talked about or that we've seen but not really taught. All right, we've got a ton of negatives thrown your way. Two parts to this lesson. All right, the first part of the more common negative words that we've seen a fair amount. Second half is negative words that you probably haven't seen before at all and are a little backwards. Okay, so let's get going. All right, what I want you to do is make a pretty big chart. We're going to fill it out in English and then I'm going to show you the same chart in French. So if we were to fill in some of these blanks, we've got negative words over here, positive or affirmative words over here. So for example, nothing, what would be the opposite of nothing is, well, something or everything, kind of get an idea. Opposite of no one, we would say someone, or tout le monde, everyone. Opposite of often might be never. The opposite of I'm still doing something is I'm not doing something anymore. So these are 4 negatives we're going to focus on in the first half of our lesson. So let's take a look en français. Remember, you can pause this video at any time if you want to keep writing. Obviously, you don't have to keep up with how I speak. Take a pause, write what you need to, and then keep going. All right, so here are mots négatifs. I have all my affirmatives on this side. I've got quelque chose, which is something. I have quelqu'un, which is someone. Quelquefois, which is sometimes. I put this in the same box with souvent, often. And then I have encore or toujours. Both of these mean still in some situations. Encore we've also seen as again. Encore, encore, please play again. And toujours we've seen as always. So we kind of got to be a little careful with toujours. Sometimes we might end up putting it in this box. And I'll show you some examples of that. Now, the opposite of quelque chose is ne rien. So the first thing you should notice is that, well, there's not one word to say nothing. There's 2. And you're absolutely right. The ne rien, all of these are going to work like ne pas. And we'll get into that. Quelqu'un is someone. The opposite would be no one, which is ne personne. Quelquefois, sometimes, or souvent, often. The opposite would be never, which is ne jamais. And then we've got encore, toujours, meaning something still happening. The opposite of that is it's not happening anymore, which is ne plus. All right, so there's a lot of things to take in this lesson. First of all, what do these words mean? What are the opposites with? And now we're going to talk about, well, how do they work in the sentence? Okay, so first things first. The general pattern, just like with ne pas, is ne plus verb plus the negative word. Je ne vois personne. I see no one. Or another way of saying that is I don't see anybody. So we got to be careful with our English phrasing and how we can't exactly go word for word into French. Now, if I have a helping verb in the passé composé, if I said j'ai mangé un sandwich, the negative je n'ai pas mangé un sandwich, the same applies for these negative words. Je n'ai rien compris. I understood nothing. The same way I would have said je n'ai pas compris. I did not understand. All right, so what it does is it actually splits up the helping verb and the past participle. That's why it's really important to understand that this helping verb is the conjugated verb. Now, personne is the exception to this rule. Personne, you would put it after the past participle because it's more of like an object. Je n'ai parlé à personne. I spoke to no one. Or je n'ai vu personne. I didn't see anyone. Your first instinct is actually going to be to put pas, like je ne vois pas personne. But you don't need a pas. That's why the personne or the rien is there. So that's kind of funny. Ha ha ha. All right, let's talk a little bit about personne and rien because they can do some things that the other words can't. So they can actually end up being subjects of a sentence. And the ne will still go before the verb, which is where things get super crazy. Rien ne s'est passé. Nothing happened. You're like, wait, I see ne. Where is my pas? The answer is you don't need pas. You've got rien. So here, what is it that happened? Nothing. That's why rien is my subject. Or personne ne m'a aidé. No one helped me. So I have my negative word as the subject of the sentence, which is personne, and then I have my ne. Or, as sometimes the teacher may lament, personne ne fait les devoirs. No one does the homework. It's another example of personne being the subject of my sentence. All right, so that's the end of the first half of our negative words. So what I want you to do is pause right here. Il y a six. Let's have all my filles. Can you guys rewrite un, trois, and cinq with negative words? Okay, so what I recommend doing is finding, well, the positive words. So my girlfriend calls all the time. Tous les jours. The opposite would be she never calls. All right. Les garçons, you guys have deux, quatre, and six. So once again, pick out the positive word. You eat with somebody. Say you do not eat with anybody. All right, so pause the video, check that out, bring it into class tomorrow. All right, the second half of this video focuses on some harder negative words. All right, Français 4. Hopefully you've gotten those first set of negative words under your belt. The second set, all right, we've got 4 more negative words that are a little more complicated than our first ones. We're starting with ne and que. Que you've seen to be all sorts of different meanings. And now here I got another one coming at you. Ne que means only. All right, and I'm going to give you an example. What you have to remember is that the que goes before the word or the expression that you only have. So an example, je n'ai que 5 euros. I only have 5 euros. A substitute for this is the word seulement. S-E-U-L-E-M-E-N-T. I only. It's not a negative word. You would say j'ai seulement 5 euros. But a different, more sophisticated way of saying that is je n'ai que 5 euros. So that's ne que for you. Here's another example with the passé composé. Elle n'a raconté que le début. She only told the beginning. All right. So notice how here, unlike rien, which would go split these guys up. What is it that she only told? She only told the beginning. So we put que here. What do I only have? I only have 5 euros. So I put the que right in front of the 5. All right, my second negative is kind of fun. Ne ni ni. All right, this one is not so uncommon. Neither nor. A little simpler, I would say. The ni is going before the word or expression that it describes. Kind of like que. Je n'aime ni les maths ni l'histoire. I like neither math nor history, or I don't like math or history. You can say it either way. But check it out. You've got your ne here, and then you got ni before les maths, ni before l'histoire. Where's the pas? You don't need it. You don't need it because you've got the ni and the ni. Now, ni can begin the sentence. An example would be ni Madame Taylor, ni moi n'étions calmes. Neither Madame nor I were calm. Or you could say, Madame and I, neither of us were calm. There's all sorts of ways to translate this into English. But this is the French construction you have to use. Ne ni ni. It's one of my favorites, I think. All right, last one, ne aucun or ne aucune. All right, not any, not one, not a single, blah, 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 whatever it is. Okay, it's always going to be in the singular form because there's not a single one, not even one. So it stays singular all the time. But it is an adjective in the sense that it will match the gender of whatever it is that you don't have a single one of. So, je ne vois aucune fille. I don't see any girl. Poor César, you know, he walks in. Oh, je ne vois aucune fille. But, so we've got the ne word here, my ne, and then aucune, because fille is feminine, I needed to add an e here. And then Quand as an adjective goes before the noun it describes. Here's another example. Je n'ai vu aucun employé. I didn't see a single employee. And this is masculine, so that's why I don't need the E here. And just like nonini, or rien, or personne, aucun can begin the sentence too. Aucun passager ne faisait la queue. So not a single passenger was waiting in line. Once again, it's really weird to be ne faisait. Where's the pas? We don't need the pas because we have my negative word aucun. Okay, so choose deux out of trois. Really, I don't see why you wouldn't do all three. But anyway, giving you an out. You've got three sentences. One's going to use que, one's going to use ni, and the other one's going to use aucun. So give these a try. I will see you à demain avec les notes et on va continuer avec les négatifs. Au revoir!